All right, so let's talk about application. So you've now completed all of the new learning from modules 1 through 4, and you're ready to apply your PBEL in your classroom. Okay, first, we want to recognize that we're all in a really difficult and potentially challenging situation. Some of us are back to teaching in person, some of us are teaching hybrid, or we're still teaching virtually, whether that's asynchronous or synchronous. That's okay. The important part is that you are working with students right now. All right. So we understand that you may need to modify your PBEL. You may need to pick and choose what you implement or change your vision about how to implement. But you can implement, and this is your opportunity to do that. All right. So what we want you to do is to implement a 40 to 60-minute lesson with your students. We want this to be one part of your PBEL. All right. Now, you may have developed a PBEL that is anywhere from 3 days to 8 weeks long. All right. We're not asking you to do your entire PBEL right now because that may not work with the environment that you're in. But we do want you to implement your first part or your first PBEL lesson. And if you're ready, your whole experience. Okay. The minimum requirement, though, is a 40 to 60-minute PBEL experience. So you're going to plan for and implement that new learning with your students, and then we want you to collect at least one artifact from that experience to bring back and share with your colleagues from STEM Camp. All right. So that could be anything. It could be a piece of student work. Just take off the student name. It could be a picture or a screenshot of students working together. Just make sure there are no faces or no identifying information. It might be a brainstormed list of solutions that your class has created. It might be a graphic organizer that a group was working on to collaborate or share information from inquiry. Okay, just some sort of artifact from your lesson that you did with your students. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is I want to frame this application in the whole scope of STEM Camp Plus. So far, you have completed between 10 and 12 hours of course learning, all right? And you've done that in modules 0 through module 4. All right, so now you're in the application and reflection. It's expected that your application and reflection could take anywhere from 4 to 5 hours because we recognize that you're going to take some time to plan and gather resources, and then you're going to take some time to implement that lesson with your students, and then give you some time for that reflection. So remember that the stipend was increased to $800 for this particular online virtual experience in recognition of the additional work you would have to do to apply. All right. So once you have applied, you're going to log back in, continue on with module 5, and complete a reflection, which will not take very long. And that'll allow you to reflect with other members of STEM Camp. Then go into module 6, which is just some overall STEM Camp closures and reflection. You'll also find your STEM Camp certificate there. And then just keep in mind, there are those PBEL, one PBEL and 2 breakout sessions that you need to complete. You can complete those anytime, all right? They're at the very bottom of all of the modules. There's lots of choices, and you can complete those now. You may have already done them, or you can complete them after you've applied and done your reflection. Everything needs to be submitted. Everything needs to be done by Friday, October 23rd, in order to qualify for the stipend. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at stephanie.m.lund@asu.edu or go back up to module 0 and sign up for one of my office hours.